I wanted to spend some time today going over just things that you should know if you're considering this profession. Things that I've learned over the last 11 years of practice and through helping people decide if this is for them. Hey guys, welcome to the PA platform. I'm Savanna Perry. I've been helping people get into PA school for the last 10 years through the PA platform. And it's all I talk about is how to become a PA and how much I love my job as a dermatology PA. I wanted to spend some time today though going over just things that you should know if you're considering this profession. Things that I've learned over the last 11 years of practice and through helping people decide if this is for them. For a little background on me, I went to the University of Georgia. Go Dogs! I loved it so much. Highly recommend. I see all these TikToks of people trying to decide what college to go to, and I love when I see Georgia on their list. I'm like, yes, Georgia, go. Especially if you want to do something in medicine. They have a very strong pre-med, pre-health, pre-PA environment. I was a biology major there. I might would have done something different actually, but I loved my time in Athens and highly recommend. Sorry for the aside. But I went to Georgia. I was a biology major. Then I went to Augusta University for PA school. My husband, who I started dating after high school, and we went to the same high school, he went to med school. So we both went to UGA, both were biology majors, both went to Augusta, where we're from, and we both went to our respective schools. And then we got married a year into school, which is another story. But I have a video on that as well. So I was in PA school, he was in med school, and then he went on to do internal medicine and become a hospitalist. And I went straight into working into dermatology right after PA school. And that's what I've been doing ever since. 11 years in, I love my job. I cannot see myself not being clinical. Getting to follow my patients and having patients now who are in college that I started seeing when they were 10 years old is the wildest thing to me. I see entire families. I've seen people grow up. That part of it is so rewarding for me. I wanted to see patients. I wanted to be involved with diagnosing them. I'm very passionate about patients being advocates for their own health and knowing what's available, knowing what choices they have, and being involved in making those choices. As a PA, I get to do that. I talk a lot about the application process for PA school, but I wanted to take it back to basics of what is a PA? What do you need to just know if this is something that you're considering? So let's go basic. This book is the pre-PA workbook. It's on Amazon. If you need help, it's the size of a textbook, but it has a ton of worksheets in it that will help you think through this process, keep track of everything so that you can put it into maps and give you the help you need from basically deciding you want to be a PA through the application process, even to getting accepted and finances and budgeting and all the things that you have to do before starting PA school. We'll link to that in the description. Let's start by defining what a PA is and what PA stands for. PA stands for Physician Assistant or Physician Associate. There's the APA, which is the American Academy of Physician Associates, and they decided a few years ago that they did this huge survey and vote that they were changing the name from Physician Assistant to Physician Associate. Now this is a huge process. You don't need to get into all the weeds here. But essentially, they approved this change and then it went to each state to decide. So while some states have made the switch from physician assistant to physician associate, not all have. So you will hear PAs referred to as physician assistants and physician associates. Blah, blah, blah. I'm getting tongue-tied there. But the PA actually recommends referring to PAs just as PAs. That's what the general population typically knows us as. Let's talk about the education route for becoming a PA. First, you'll need an undergraduate degree. It doesn't matter what it's in, and each school will have different requirements as far as classes and what they want you to get done. But usually you're getting a degree in your undergrad, you're completing some patient care experience, volunteering, shadowing, taking maybe some standardized tests, getting all this stuff done, taking the classes they recommend, and then you apply to PA school whenever you want. But the earliest you would apply to PA school would be the spring or summer of your junior year, with an anticipated start date of right after graduation. But you can apply in your senior year and have a gap year, or you can take gap years on purpose. But you do your undergrad, you apply, and then you go into a master's program. So PA school is a master's degree that is 24 to 36 months long, depending on the program. So about 2.5 years that you'd be in school. School tends to be straight through, like you're not really getting breaks, maybe Christmas break, maybe a spring break, not really summer breaks unless you're in a longer program. You're doing about a year of didactic, about a year of rotations. So for example, my program was 27 months. So we had 14 months of didactic, and then we had 13 months of rotations for our clinical year. After school, you take national boards. So that board exam is called the PANCE exam, P-A-N-C-E. NCCPA is the certifying body for the PA profession. You may also hear about the PAEA. They're the Education Association. That's who accredits the PA schools. But you'll take boards at a national level, and then you get licensed at a state level. So I work in Georgia. So I finished PA school in August. You can take boards 2 weeks after you graduate. Took boards. I then got licensed in Georgia to practice, and that's the only place I'm licensed. You can be licensed in multiple states and move around, but that is the process. PAs also have to do CME requirements. So every 2 years, we have to complete 100 hours of CME. So 50 of that can be self-learning on your own, reading journals, going to talks about medications, having students shadow, kind of enrichment type things. Whereas the other 50 have to be dedicated CME learning hours. So usually I'll go to conferences, I'll take quizzes on journal articles or videos. There's lots of ways to get those hours. But we're doing these continuing education over time. And even though I'm in dermatology, some of my CME is general. It's just about everything. So every 10 years we have to take the PAN-RE, and there's two options. You can sit down and take it like you did the PANCE, or the PAN-RE LA, which is what I did on my most recent recertification, is a 2-year process of an open book test that you take once a quarter. It was really great. I wouldn't say it was easy, but it was a really good review. And because in clinic and in practice we're using resources, it was nice that we had that option as well to show that we know how to research and do evidence-based medicine in that way. So then in 10 years, I'll do that again. Let's talk about areas that PAs can work in. The title PA is so interesting because my job as a PA could look so different from one of my friends' jobs. And even I have 2 friends that work in the ER, and their jobs look completely different. They work on different levels of acuity. Their collaboration with the doctor is different. There can be so much variation in our profession, even though we're all PAs. Once you add that specialty component of which area PAs work in, it does get a little more similar, but it can still vary so much based on years of experience, location, who you're working with, level of comfort, all these things. So being in dermatology, for example, I do surgeries, I do excisions because I enjoy that side of it. I enjoy the procedures, but there are many derm PAs who don't. And there are some that just do cosmetics. I don't do as much cosmetics. So there's a lot of variation. For someone who's interested in the profession, that's a great thing, because if you become a PA and you don't find the best fit, you can switch, you can do something else. I graduated with someone who went into family medicine. After a couple of years, I heard that he was actually thinking about going back to med school, that he just wasn't fulfilled in that role. It wasn't what he wanted. So what he was encouraged to do was to try something else. And so he actually switched to dermatology, and he loved it, and that's what he's been doing ever since. And that is where he found his place. I have colleagues that work in so many different specialties: ENT, NICU, women's medicine. Our coaches at the PA platform, if you look at their bios, they work in so many different areas. Interventional radiology, ER, ICU. There's some really cool jobs out there for PAs. If you go back and watch one of our sessions from MapCon, we had a PA on our panel who was involved with hand surgery and plastics. She was fantastic. There are so many cool PAs out there and doing really awesome stuff. So you have to decide what you want. As far as the actual job, we're seeing patients, and that can be independently or autonomously. I have my own schedule of patients. I see them, they know they're coming to see me. If I need help, my collaborating physician is available either in person or by phone to help me out if I need it. After 10 years, I would say usually I know what I'm doing or what I'm going to do, even if I do ask her for help. Sometimes it's just wanting those extra eyes on it, or knowing that she's gonna think a case is really interesting and I want her perspective. And the cool thing about being in a relationship like that is that it goes both ways. And even a couple weeks ago we were talking and she was like, I love learning from you guys. Like, you're going to conferences, you're hearing about all these things, y'all bring in this information And so we get to talk about it. And so as much as I'll come have a room and say, hey, this is going on, I just don't really know if I'm doing the right thing or if I need to think about anything else, she does the same thing. And she says, this was weird. What do y'all think? I'm like, am I missing anything? And medicine in general is so collaborative. And I think that's what makes it good for patients, is that teamwork approach to saying, I'm going to humble myself and ask for help or ask for other opinions and get confirmation because I want what's best for the patient. And I want to feel like I'm really serving them. And when I shadowed, that's really what I saw in the PA and the doctor that I shadowed, and what made me feel like I want to be a PA. I'm ready to get out there. I want to do this, and I want that teamwork approach. Now, you will find some limitations on PAs. In some states, PAs can't deliver babies. So if that's something you're really passionate about, you may want to look into something like being a midwife or pursuing medical school. You'll need to look at your state and see what they do. So I'm in Georgia. I remember one of our teachers in PA school said that she went out to California and did a women's health fellowship or post-grad training. So she was out there for a while. She did tons of deliveries and all this stuff. Came back to Georgia and they said, you can't deliver. So you have to look at those things before you pursue those opportunities to make sure that you're not wasting time learning those skills if you do plan to work or live in a certain area. For example, in Alabama, it may have changed recently, but PAs weren't allowed to do aesthetic procedures for a while. So in dermatology, they weren't doing any of that. But in Georgia, we can. So it just varies. Some PAs can own practices in certain states and not in other states. So those are all things you may want to consider if it's something you're pursuing or if you're trying to decide between professions. While PAs have a shorter length of schooling, it is very condensed. It's very full-time job while you're there, like you're in class 9 to 5 most days. But afterwards, the return on investment, because most people are taking out loans, that's what I did, is pretty good. So usually on average, a new grad PA is making a median of around $90,000. So that's a good salary. I would say being in this profession and hearing from colleagues, there is a ceiling, a cap to some of that earning potential that may come with time and experience. So there's lots of things to consider. Overall, the PA profession is fantastic. It's pretty quick to get there. It's not easy, but I know you can do it. I'm here to help. And you can work in a lot of different areas. And there's a lot of flexibility to find what it is you want to do. My ultimate piece of advice is talk to people. Get out there and shadow. Do virtual shadowing. We have virtual shadowing in our pre-PA academy each month where you can see other PAs in different areas and you can go back and watch and really learn from them. Ask questions. Tell people you're thinking about being a PA. Talk to as many people as you can. Get the info and see what's going to be the best fit for you. And I'm here to help. If you have any questions, please let me know. Make sure you check the description for more links of ways that we can help you out. Sign up for Mapped. If you're early in this process, you need to be on Mapped. You need to be tracking everything you're doing to make your life easier when it's time to apply. And that's whether you end up being pre-med, pre-dent, pre-PA, whatever you end up doing. If you're in the medical pipeline, Mapped is the perfect place for you to be keeping up with everything and taking that stress away of feeling like you're doing it alone. You're not. We're here. Mapped is here. The PA platform is here to help. Email me, message me. You can leave comments. Happy to help. This is what I've been doing for the last 10 years and I love it so much. It brings me so much joy to just go through this process with y'all and to hear about your acceptances. Makes my day literally every time. So thank you for watching. Subscribe, share with your friends, share with your pre-PA club, and let me know how I can help. Thanks for watching.